Good evening, Evil Zone here with another Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper 2. This episode I'm going to call Forced to Heist, and until we've finished it, and maybe the name will change then, but why Forced to Heist? Because when we left off last time, we were trying to do a mission for this vendor, shopkeeper, whatever, to get a part to repair our hyperdrive to escape our pursuers. And unfortunately, we failed that mission. And we won't be able to make enough money in time to buy it from that guy in time before our pursuers arrive at the space station. So all that's left for us to do now is try and steal it from him. So that's where we left off last time, and that's where we're headed to today. So without much further ado, let's get right into the game. All right, I got my gamepad and we're ready to go. Let's switch over to the gameplay. And here we go. Let me get everything ready, and we're all set. We are on cycle 12, so last time we played for 10 cycles. That is 10 days. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I need to look up, is it Uni's unit? Yeah, because Uni was the one that accompanied us and basically told us that had we been able to find the part that we were supposed to trade off with custom, then she would have just stolen it from us. But because that didn't work out, she was honest enough to say that, hey, I kind of owe you now, and I'll help you steal that unit. And so, yeah. Not that that's what we want to do, but that's kind of like, you know, trying to make at least somewhat edible juice out of the lemons we've been dealt. And so now, let's take a look at what we can do there. We can hack security. Uni needs to help create a backdoor into Karsten's security system so she can deactivate them when the time is right. That's an interface action, which we are really good at. Not really good, but better than average. Observe target. Leaving Uni into the hacking and covertly observing Karsten will be the quickest and riskiest way to scope out security. It's an engage action. I'm average at that, and it's dangerous. And looking at my dice right now, that's not a good idea. Because it's a dangerous action, and even if I took my strongest dice now, there would be a 25% chance of a negative outcome, and we don't need negative outcomes on this. So instead, we are going to try and hack security. That's what we're good at. That's what we're going to do. And once we're down to the last 3 dice, the 2s, I was about to say we're going to try and push, but I don't think we can push because we're on the space station. But we'll see. We'll try. Okay, positive outcome. Working in concert with Uni, you identify a potential weakness in the system. This will be helpful. All right, that's already 2 towards our goal. And even a 4 is 25%, 50, 25%. Ooh. Okay. Well, let's start it. Neutral outcome. You make it through a single layer of security only to find another. Karsten is more paranoid than you thought. So if we get at least neutral on those next 3 rolls, we're in. Positive outcome. Working in concert with Uni, you identify a potential weakness in the system. This will be helpful. All right, and then we'll take the lower die. Actually, no, let's see if we can push. Yeah, there's no push option. Okay. So let's take that. 50% neutral, 50% negative. Neutral outcome. You have enough info to take a shot at this. Time to go through the plan. All right. Also, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit congested. I was out sick yesterday with a heavy sore throat and severe congestion. I'm better today. I spent all day in bed yesterday. But I'm still a little bit congested. So if I sound funny and if I'm sniffing more than I normally am, which I'm not, then yeah, that's the reason why. If my voice sounds a little off. Hexport, busy industrial station. The sound of fists on keyboard wakes you from the scrolling code on the terminal screen. You turn to see Uni, a rare half smile on her face as she floats cross-legged with her deck in her lap. The blue light of the snap-on screen makes her eyes glint with a glittering excitement. Got him. She shoots you a look. Carson's whole system is mine. You push away from your terminal to glide over to her screen. Running the mapping protocol now. I want to know about every little dusty corner of this network. We're not going to ask if there's much to map because we already saw there's layers upon layers. So we just say, nice work. Hold on, we aren't there yet. It's coming up now. Seems Carson is pretty paranoid. This whole system is iced over with some serious security. She frowns. What are all these layers of? A red pulse flashes across her face, changing her features as it does. Shit, shit, shit! Her fingers dance across the keyboard. Something is closing the port. We need... Another red flash and her screen goes blank. Uni's fist hits the keyboard again, harder. We've been kicked out. She's rapidly shaking her head. There's no way a salvager's shop should have that kind of countermeasure. She looks troubled. That's it? We're locked out? She looks over at you. It seems so. I think our friend Carson is involved in some nasty stuff. She rubs her forehead in thought. Wow, but I thought we succeeded at the task. All right, let's keep going. Wait. Her fingers fly across the keyboard, her screen flickering with commands. A complex node graph assembles on the screen, a mess of interlocking connections. The mapping protocol did enough. She points at the screen. All the security systems are there. She indicates a dark section of broken connections. We didn't get what's here, but it seems like we found some kind of archive. Nothing we want. So what now? Uni pulls a thumbnail drive out of one of her many pockets and slots it into her deck. Time to train my cat. Excuse me. I could either say your cat or I could identify the program, which is what I'm going to try to do since I'm an operator. That's what I do. So let's identify the program. Neutral outcome, check pass. You watch the code spilling across the screen and notice the address from the node map being marked and logged. It appears to be some kind of exploratory program. A Ripper worm, perhaps? But why would Uni want the data from Carson's network? You glance at Uni and notice she's watching you carefully. I can see you following along, but trust me, you haven't seen one of these before. She's asking for a lot of trust ever since we met her, but she's doing a lot of untrustworthy stuff. It's Katsunyama, cat for short. Basically, it takes a network map, finds the weaknesses, and when you hook it up, blasts the network with so much network noise and raw data that it becomes unusable. She smiles to herself. Any tech connected gets a killer headache. I built it to take the remnants of Solheim security systems out of commission on old derelicts. She squints. I had one too many close calls. What will it do to Carson's shop? Pretty much fry anything on our map. Cameras, shutter controls, alarms. It'll be pure chaos. That doesn't sound good. She plucks the thumbnail drive out of her deck and hands it over. The cat head sticker on it catching the light as you turn it in your fingers. We've still lost access, of course. Uni turns back to her screen, bringing up another node map. But there's an old Solheim port from the original facility just outside Carson's. Slot the cat in there, and it should be able to find a back door. How can you be sure? I spotted it on the map. She brings it up in another window. Carson's hooked up to the old fixed network. It's a classic weakness. This isn't going to be quiet, she squints. This whole system is going to get data blasted. It's not a subtle hack. When you slot the cat, you get in, grab the feed lines, and run. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, creating a lot of noise and ruckus, and that's not subtle. That's not the heist that I thought we were getting into. Sounds like one hell of a risk. Seraphin's voice catches you both by surprise as he slips into the dark and empty unit. See, we can't even notice when a third person creeps in on us. We're so screwed. We're so underprepared for this. Well, Uni pauses, looking between the two of you. It's our best option. Seraphin narrows his eyes. And where will you be while we run the gauntlet of scrambled security and make the grab? Uni looks away. I can monitor how it goes down remotely from here or the ship. The ship? By herself? This is not going to happen. She's just going to steal the ship. Seraphin gives you a look. You can tell he's finding it hard to trust Uni after everything. I'm not sure I want you alone on the ship. Exactly. Uni looks annoyed. Annoyed? Well, sucks to be you, lady. I can't even pilot a ship like that, if that's what you were worried about. She starts to pack up her deck. I'll set up somewhere else if you prefer. She shoots Seraphin a look. I get it. Happy to earn your trust. Uni shoulders her bag and glides to the door. When you are ready, slot the cat and go. By the time you are back at the ship, I'll be there. She glances down. Don't leave without me. She shoots Seraphin another look and then slips out of the unit. Seraphin watches her go, then turns to you. The whole of Hexport is going to hear about this. He shakes his head. We better be ready to go the moment you slot that thing. I'll be ready. Seraphin nods silently. I'll be at the ship preparing the engine. We need to be ready to fit the lines as fast as we can, as we possibly can. He meets your eye. Be careful. Don't stop for anyone or anything. He puts a hand on your shoulder, and don't even think about looking back. With that, he slips out of the unit, leaving you alone to consider what comes next. What comes next is I make sure that we have enough fuel excuse me, that we have enough fuel and enough, yeah, we don't. 2 out of 5. So we're going to go to Hexport Trade Hall, and we're going to buy some supplies, 3 to be precise. You have as many supplies as the rig can carry. You can't buy more. And we're going to buy as much fuel as we can. Oh, actually, we can just pay for it. I thought it just gives you the price, but it actually calculates it in. So if you have enough cryo, they can fill your fuel capacity in a single order. That's what we're going to do. ship's fuel tanks are full. You can't buy any more for now. All right, now let's take a look. Carson's supply. You can slot the Katzenjammer, or I brought us down to 7 credits. I think we're gonna try and make some money at Swift Scrap Soul with a data diffusal shift, just because we're gonna sleep one night over this, because I want to have a good set of dice and not just one bad die and then be caught with pants down, not being able to actually respond to whatever comes towards us. All right, data diffusal shift. All scrapyards have paid data diffusal work to offer, as old tech tends to be laced with protocols and countermeasures that need disabling. Neutral outcome. You manage to defuse the countermeasure on a set of thrusters, and the scrapyard managers seem impressed. All right. Now, back to the ship and take a nap. All right, there's some good dice here. That's what I wanted. And now, let's go to Carson's supply and slot the Katzenjammer. Uni's cat will overwhelm Carson's security, but you don't know how long for. You better be ready to grab the feed lines and run the moment you slot it. We're gonna do this. All right, we're gonna do this. You slide the worm into the corroded Solheim port. A noise from Carson's shop immediately catches your attention. Carson's place is locked up for the cycle, shutter down, alarms on, the denizens of Factory Row snaking past with deliveries and work orders. You hold your position opposite the shop and take a deep breath, waiting for a sign that this is going to work. You look at the thumbnail drive with its shimmering cat sticker sticking out of the old Solheim access port. You imagine the flow of data as the Katzenjammer. Oh, I see. If you pronounce it English, now it's a play on words. The Katzenjammer seeks for an entry point into Carson's system. Because Katzen is the German word for cat, and Jammern is to mourn. So it's like the cat mourning, but if you pronounce it in English, it's a jammer. Now it makes more sense. You think of Uni tucked away near the ship, watching you through the public networks. You think of Seraphine, deep in the engine room of the rig. Hurry the hell up, you think. Enough waiting. Then you hear it. Pulsating white noise spluttering, and then screaming out of Carson's shop. The shutter scissors up and down. The lights pulse. The alarm gurgles in confusion. For a moment, you are stunned into stillness. People stop in the street, then turn to look as the shutter motors burn out in a cascade of sparks and acrid smoke. Now or never. We can use our intuition to approach carefully, or we can rush inside with an engage action. Both have the same chance of success and failure. We originally planned to just rush in and get the F out, but I think we should still have a little bit of caution, right? Just a little bit of caution. So we'll approach carefully. Neutral outcome. You skirt around the people watching, using them as a perimeter. They are pointing and talking, some of them laughing, while others look concerned. You confidently push past them and glide inside without looking back. It takes you a moment to gather yourself in the chaos of the shop. The wall-mounted screens scream out white noise, and the flickering lights make it hard to concentrate, but you keep your focus. You scramble over to the feed lines in the window, grabbing the bundle with both arms. They wave wildly in your grasp as you wrench them away and kick off from the counter, gliding back out into the passage. Your arcing glide takes you into the crowd. You steer yourself through a gap in the gathering bodies and kick off hard towards the port. The feed lines wave wildly, but you grip them hard to your chest and don't look back. Seraphin better be ready. Hexport, your arms ache from clutching the feed lines, but you don't loosen your grip until you see the entrance to the docking bridge. Sleeper, you almost ignore the call until you realize you recognize the voice. Uni glides out to meet you, her hand on your shoulder, guiding you towards the bridge. I'm with you now. She shoots you a glance. What a show, huh? She laughs nervously. It was certainly loud. She smiles a little. I wish I could have seen the cat in action. You both glide down the docking bridge, Uni helping you with the trailing feed lines. From what you can tell, news of the chaos in Factory Row has not reached the port yet. You feel a flush of excitement as you enter the ship's airlock. This is it. You did it. You try to keep focused, but the elation makes your hands tremble. I'm not so sure about that yet. You take a sharp turn in the central passage of the ship and make your way to the engine room. The feed lines now unwieldy in the cramped space. Seraphin is waiting for you, shaking his head. Looks like we're in business. He lets out a sigh. And on the run from two different people now. He grabs the feed lines. I'll take it from here. He quickly begins the process of connecting the engine to the subsidiary fuel tank. You watch, catching your breath, as he works. How about you make yourself useful rather than just making me nervous, Seraphin says without looking up from his work. Go close the airlock and disconnect the bridge. You and Uni glance at each other. Both of you, now, Seraphin calls out. The two of you turn and make your way up the passage, your nerves settling now. You arrive at the airlock and reach for the control panel. Then you see him. Karsten, coming up the docking bridge, fast. Close the airlock, yes. I'm not going to call stop. No, I'm going to close the airlock. Boom. Neutral outcome. You're shaking hands, input the closure sequence just in time. The door hisses and slams shut in Karsten's face. He glares at you through the airlock's window, but as he does, the docking bridge shutters scissor closed, blocking him from view. You hear a clunk as the clamps disengage. You are free. Seraphin rushes past, gliding up the passageway from the engine room. Come on, get yourself strapped in. You and Uni silently follow him, your head spinning, your thoughts racing. Yeah, my thoughts are racing. How did he know where to go? I bet you there's some kind of tracking device on those hoses because he was expecting something like that. That's not good. You slip into your seat as Seraphin punches in the departure sequence. The rig begins to pull away from Hexport, Seraphin's hands on the controls. You close your eyes and feel the force of the thrusters firing. What the? Seraphin's quiet question interrupts your thoughts as the rig cuts across the belt. Hexport is now behind you, drifting out of visual range, its glinting lights now just part of the background glow of the belt's thousands of reflective bodies. Whatever trouble you steered up there, it has surely been left behind. Which is why Seraphin's muttering is worrying you. More trouble? Seraphin turns. There's a transmission coming out of Hexport. Some kind of evac order? He turns back to his console. Let me check this. Sleeper. The voice, as distorted as it is, cuts through you. Lane. I know you are there. A hissing pause. Was that coming from Hexport? Seraphin glances at you, confused. Is what coming from Hexport? Give me a second there, Sleeper. I'm getting a wide-channel broadcast. He rubs his shoulder nervously. They're warning people to alter their course away from the station. You are slipping away, a squawk of noise. But we can't have that. I take this personally, sleeper. A sharp intake of breath. After all my investment, all my care expended upon you, this is how you repay me? At least we're heading away, Seraphin interrupts. Maybe it's just a precaution. I see a little something glinting out there, Lane continues. Could that be you? Sleeper. You hear Seraphin calling, but you don't move, you don't breathe. All you hear is Lane's voice. You unclip from your restraint, drifting towards Seraphin. He gives you a wild look. Something isn't right. You don't feel right. A numbness grows in your body, your fingers flexing without your input. You reach out towards Seraphin. No, not you. Something reaches out to Seraphin through you. A tension flickers in his eyes. Fear? A hissing silence, then a rumbling blast. All at once, the rig screams, systems seizing in electromagnetic paralysis. All at once, the rig shifts, carried on some shockwave of light. Pain, then darkness. What? What just happened? Unknown, a vast and dark interior. Voices echo warmly through your mind. You can't quite make out what is being said, and any attempt to focus causes a growing flare of pain, so you let them fill the air, unidentifiable and soft. You are floating, and so you cannot yet feel your body or its weight. The feeling is pleasant, soothing, and yet the moment you realize this, it begins to fade. Something spasms in your fingers, and you flick it away. A sensation crosses the sole of your foot, and you kick your leg. A weight settles itself on your chest. You are awake. You open your eyes to light playing across a surface patterned with stained cushioning. You are alone. The voice is replaced by the hum of air cycling, the distant clank of maintenance systems. You are alone, and this is not your ship. You jerk upwards against the straps that hold you loosely to the berth, suddenly confronted with the last things you remember, an overwhelming numbness, and below it, an insipid, animating force creeping through your mind. You pull at the straps and free yourselves. Floating up into the small habitation room, cushioned and warm, your mind racing. What happened? You search back and remember only Seraphin's shouts, the sudden acceleration of the rig, and then darkness. A chill runs through you. Cold light fills the room, and you float over to the dark square of the window. You see stars, the bright pinpricks of drive trails, and skeletal docking bridges. This is a station. A sudden hiss draws your attention to the door, which slides open with a puff of equalizing pressure. The entering figure jumps as they see you are awake. You're up. They hesitate in the doorway. Bliss, troubled repair technician. Who are you? They laugh nervously. Right, we didn't meet. They glance back out the doorway as if looking for help. I'm Bliss. They shrug, not sure of what to add. Your crew are out. Sorry. They brought you here. Here. Right. They nod slowly. This is my room. They glance around. Not much, I know. We are my repair bay, on the far spindle, if you know where that is. How did I get here? They look around at the room again. Come on. Let's go somewhere a little more comfortable. They hold out a hand. You are safe, don't worry. You follow them out into the corridor, gliding behind them. They move with the ease of someone who was either born in 0G or has spent most of their life in it. They guide you to an enclosed balcony where heavily scratched, thick acrylic windows look out onto a chaotic-looking wet dock. At the center of the dock is the rig, scratched and worn, but still your ship. It's a reassuring sight. So, what happened? Your ship. Bliss pauses. You were lucky I heard your distress signal. You sense they are holding something back. I guess that expensive long-range array I was tricked into buying finally paid off. They laughed at themselves. Well, at least for someone. You were out cold when I got there, and have been for all the cycles since. Your friend wasn't in great shape either, but he bounced back fast. I make a habit of doing that. Seraphine's voice makes you spin around. Good to see you up. He can't suppress his smile. Are you okay? He smiles. Don't start fussing over me, sleeper. I'm good. Your eyes fall to Seraphine's bandaged abdomen. He notices and pulls his jacket over the wound. Certainly looks better than when you came in. You should have seen. Bliss abruptly stops. After Seraphine glares in their direction. Here. Seraphine pulls a few chits out of his pocket. Catch. He slings them over to Bliss. That's all I could get for now. What are you paying them for? Seraphine laughs. Who do you think put the rig back together? Bliss looks at you apologetically. I know what it looks like, but I'm sorry. I can't work for free. Keeping this place going is bad enough. I get it. Seraphine nods. We're just thankful you towed us in. We aren't freeloaders. Bliss looks between the two of you. I'll let you two catch up. They turn to you. I'm glad you're awake. We were worried. They pat you on the shoulder and glide back down the corridor. With Bliss gone, silence descends on you and Seraphine, both of you unsure what to say. Where's Uni? She's probably on the ship, working on that deck of hers. Seraphine looks out at the ship. She's been useful. Not sure we would have got that distress signal out without her. What do you remember? He looks at you with concern. Lane. Seraphine grimaces at the mention of his name. Lane? He shakes his head. Seraphine looks out at the rig. He takes a breath, steeling himself for what he has to say. Hexport is... He clears his throat. It's gone. He flinches. What do you mean, gone? Oh shit. We should have just waited for Karsten and taken him aboard. Maybe he wasn't after the hoses after all. Maybe he was just trying to get off the station because of an evacuation or something. Now I feel bad. It's gone. Seraphine catches your eye. Dropped off the map. No signals apart from ones sent from fleeing ships. He frowns. I don't know what happened. No one does. Your mind skips, unable to focus on the information you've just been told. You think of the constant activity of the bends, the rumble of Factory Row, Karsten. Gone. On the positive side, that's one enemy less to worry about, right? But still, that's harsh. By the time Bliss reached us, we had drifted out of range. They couldn't have seen it go up, but I saw, sleeper. Something exploded, white hot. He rubs his arms, suppressing a shiver. A moment later, the shockwave was on us. The rig was crippled. Engine kept firing, but guidance went offline, sending us arcing out across the belt. He drops the hand inside his jacket, pressing against the bandage on his side. I managed to get her under control, but not before we started spinning. My restraints came loose, and you weren't even strapped in, so we both got scrambled. He smiles a weak smile. Felt like being trapped in an auto wash. He turns back to you. I'm impressed you made it, to be honest. A flesh and blood human would have been smashed to pieces. He goes silent, the image a little too raw for him to continue. Could it be to do with us? Seraphine shrugs. Your guess is as good as mine. He squints. Would Lane do something like that? It doesn't make any sense. Utsubo is a gang. They run Darkside. They don't go around blowing up stations. All anyone is seeing is debris and radiation. I picked up a lot of ship transporters before the rig went offline. Maybe some people got out. He stops, unable to add anything more. Well, I hope our other friend got out with her grumpy brother. You both float in silence for a moment. What now? Therapin laughs weakly. One step at a time. You in a rush? We already owe Bliss for the work they did on the rig, and it isn't finished yet. A few more cycles, I've been told. Bliss won't hold us hostage, but I don't like to skip out without paying, even if we could get the rig started up. He rubs his necklace between his fingers. Bad karma. We've had enough bad karma, that's true. Beyond that, we need work, fuel, supplies, and we need to make sure you are okay. He counts off the issues on his fingers. Actually, we don't need fuel and supplies because I took care of that before we started the mission, so that's actually a good thing. After that, he shrugs. I haven't heard of anyone coming after us, and if they did, they'd have to come through Hexport, or what's left of it. He looks away. The far spindle is way out of Lane's territory anyway. They call this bit of the belt the Wash, and the stations here run differently to Darkside, so for now, we have some freedom. Seraphin sighs. Freedom to go broke, starve, and get into even more trouble, that is. In all honesty, I was hoping you might have some idea. He pats you on the shoulder. We should keep moving. Well, Seraphin reasons. We'll need cryo for that, but there are plenty of places to go in the Wash, and I'm not against putting more ground between us and Lane. Seraphin pauses and stares down. Look, Sleeper. He rubs his side. I'm not sure I can work right now. I just got kicked out of the salvage yard for passing out on the job. He looks away. Even with the pain meds, I've been able to scare up. I can fly, that's for sure. He stares obstinately at the rig. But you are going to need some crew if you want to do any serious work. He chews his lip. I'm sorry. Don't be. Seraphin nods. Thanks, Sleeper. He turns away. I'm going to go take a rest on the rig. I'm wiped. You look at the rig as he leaves, the warmth and softness of your waking moments now feeling like a distant memory. Is this what you wanted? Freedom? A chance to work for yourself, not Lane? Well, here it is, with all the problems and complications you could imagine. And at what cost? Could Lane have wiped out Hexport just to try to end you? You shiver at the thought. But if not Lane, then who? Theories cloud your mind. Dwell on them. Could it have been Conway? A drone or mine drifting starward? Senate stat, perhaps? With some plan to weaken the belt? Or a belt faction attempting to flip the board by intent or mistake? And now that I think about it, why would he wipe the station? Unless he knew we're no longer on it and he wanted to send a signal. But I think it doesn't make sense. He wants us back. We're an investment. He doesn't want to destroy the investment, so that's probably not it. The belt had considered itself safe from the war brewing in the inner system. But now, Hexport's loss would be felt all across the starward belt. What if there was something in Karsten's shop, which was why it's so highly secured, and that exploded and destroyed the entire station, and it's our fault? But what does that mean to you? Your needs are much more immediate, apparent. Those must come first. You take a breath, time to make a plan. You've gained some glitch. Glitch is a penalty you gain from repairing dice, and from Lane's attempts to hack your system. Your current level of glitch is represented by the glitch clock to the right of your dice. Okay, I see it. It's on the very top. You can have a maximum of 6. Each level of glitch you gain will increase your chance of rolling a glitched dice at the start of the cycle. Each time you roll a glitched dice, you clear 1 level of glitch. A glitched dice has an 80% chance of a negative outcome when used and a 20% chance of a positive outcome. Ooh, a glitch dice looks like this, and we have 2 of them. Holy smokes, that's not good. I wonder if we can re-roll them. No, we can't because we're not on a mission. You find Uni in the airlock, her small collection of things crammed into her bag. I was coming to see you, I promise. She looks nervous. I was waiting for you to wake up, but Seraphin said you were okay, so... Sure you aren't sneaking off? She looks away. I don't like big goodbyes, that's all. Wait, she's abandoning us? Abandoning us? No way. While you were out, she pauses, the concern for you obvious. I was doing some digging. It seems that Core, the Solheim one, isn't the only one out there. I am going to keep looking to find another one. I'm not giving up. She takes a breath. But I'm going alone. We can help. No, look. She takes a sharp breath. After what happened with the rig, Bliss saving us, we are all lucky to be alive. She shifts her bag on her shoulder. I think I'm better off alone. For now. Well then, screw you. Good luck, Sleeper. And tell Seraphin goodbye for me. I'll let her go. Whatever. Well, she rubs the back of her neck. See you around. She wasn't really useful in the mission anyways. You watch her drift away down the docking tunnel and into the far spindle, with questions still bouncing around your head. Maybe, if your paths cross again, you might be able to get some of them answered. I think if her paths were to cross again, she's probably going to be on the opposite side of good and evil. Us being good in that case. Though I think this game has already made itself clear that it's far more shades of gray than black and white. Okay, so we got our rig, we got Bliss Bay, struggling repair business. We have the Spindle Core, bustling spacer commons. We have Pinnacle Docks, a massive freight interchange. What do we have on the bottom? The Underhang, a growing shanty town. Let's start at the bottom and take a look at what our options are. So, the life beneath. Many residents of the Far Spindle live in the ramshackle Underhang. It's not an easy place to learn to navigate. We can help the residents with engineering, which we are crap at. Underhang residents couldn't afford to rent further up, so they came here to build their own units. They're always in need of repair work. No, to be honest, that's a good time to use a glitch dice, because if it sounds to me like the glitch dice are independent from our skill. So there's a 20% chance of positive, 80% of negative. But for now, we'll keep looking at our options. Wander the Underhang. The Underhang grew organically, unit after unit built onto each other by refugees and new residents. This makes it a tough place to explore. So we can just wander around and try to see what's to be found. Bliss's Bay. The rig is mostly patched up, but Bliss wants a few more cycles to run final tweaks and diagnostics. Alright, so we have 4 cycles that we need to spend here anyways before something happens with Bliss. The Spindle Core, bustling spacer commons. Explore the core. From wide transit tunnels to labyrinthine corridors, all the passages of the spindle seem to pass through the core. Chat to crews. Spacer crews are a constant presence in the core. If you want tips on crew and contracts, you might as well ask them. The core of the spindle is where crews and freelancers mix, travelers rest and resupply, and business gets done. Alright, what's at the top? Pinnacle Docks, massive freight interchange. Roam the docks. We're really bad at that because it's endure. Looking around the Pinnacle Docks without getting in someone's way is hard. It takes fortitude to explore amongst the chaos. Study the manifests. That's actually something we're good at. With so much freight flying around, excuse me, it seems safer to cozy up with a terminal and study the manifests to learn this place. Pinnacle Explorer. The Pinnacle docks are vast and filled with freight haulers and stevedores. This is not an easy place to wander. You know what? Let's start by we can get 200% positive outcomes with our dice. So let's do that. Let's use the interface skill because we got the +1. Now it's a 6 and it's 100% positive. Boom. It all makes sense. Arrivals, departures, the flow of freight. You can identify the key docks just from their data. Oh, this already had a situation. Far spindle. As you glide through the Pinnacle docks, you hear shouting echoing down a corridor. As you tentatively change direction, your eyes fixed ahead as the passage widens out into a large bay. Others rush past you, heading towards the commotion. Your eyes are drawn by the bay's vast viewing window, which is currently being spattered with glittering shards of ice. In front of it, a dock worker is shouting to anyone who will listen. Spacers, workers of the Far Spindle, we need your urgent assistance. The water carrier Springtide has suffered heavy damage in its transit from Wellspring. He takes a breath. All able hands, we need you to help source the cargo. Without this water, Far Spindle will struggle to support you. He looks desperately at the crowd. Please, any who are able to help, please make yourself known. Behind him, a corona of ice ejects from one of the tanks, drawing a pale halo around the ship. A handful of experienced-looking spacers push through the crowd towards the front, and dock workers start to direct them to nearby bridges. You watch the scene unfold, hesitant in the face of making someone else's problem your own. New drive available. Secure the Springtide. Actually, now that I think about it, we have experience points. We could push our ability, or we could save it and try to improve our other abilities. I think that's the more sensible solution, because these only work while we're on a mission. Yeah, let's save those points for now. The Springtide, what can we do there? Saving Springtide is seriously... So it's a cycle clock. There's only 6 turns to do anything here. We can repair the leaks, which we're crap at because it's Endure. Springtide crew and Spindle dock workers are desperately appealing for any qualified bodies to help them plug the ship's leaks. Or we can reroute the flow. A tech team from the Dock Authority are working to reroute the flow of Springtide's water, saving as much as possible from leaking out into space. And we can use interface for that, so let's do this. Let's try and help them. You manage to get some of the tanks connected to the Far Spindle itself and start to pump the water out to its reservoirs. We can try that again. Now there's only a 50% chance for positive. You manage to start shifting the water from a damaged tank to a more stable one using the filtration system. Now we could use those risky dice. We'll try one. If it comes up a negative, then at least we'll know if we can risk it on the second one. Yeah! You managed to get some of the tanks connected to the Far Spindle itself and start to pump the reservoir out of its reservoirs. All right, that worked. That was a positive. So then we'll do it again, just to see what the negative outcome is. All right, we just lose some energy. That's worse fates. You struggle with the ornate systems of the ship, but the security countermeasures keep you from rerouting. All right, time to go sleep. and cycle. One glitch die, alright. Let's go back to the Pinnacle Docks. No, not the Pinnacle Docks. The Spring Tide. Finish up here. Yeah, we'll use one of these. The tech team from the Dock Authority are working to reroute the flow. Yeah, let's try again. Negative outcome. Ooh, that's not good. We lost more energy. Let's use another small dice. Positive outcome. We managed to get some of the tanks connected. And now we're just going to finish it up. See what happens. The springtide seems stable now, even if a huge amount of water has been lost in the process. You watch from the docking bay's viewing window as the crumpled, vast hull of the Springtide is finally welded shut by a score of bright torches, flickering against its side. Everywhere I look, I see a crisis. The voice comes from beside you, and you turn to see a man floating there, watching the repair work. You don't recognize him. I saw you out there helping the crew. He turns to you with a serious look. The far spindle needs the water. You aren't wrong. He pauses, watching you carefully. I haven't seen you on the spindle before. What, if I may ask, is your business here? I'm running a crew. He nods. I see. Springtide is my ship. His face remains impassive. At least I am her captain. I do not own her. The Lotic Syndicate, my employer, was the one to put her into service. Why didn't you say earlier? He arches his eyebrows again. I prefer to meet people as Malik first and as captain second. That's his name, Malik, experienced water hauler captain. You have my thanks for assisting with the repairs. We were caught by some autonomous Conway munitions. He looks out at his ship. The Wellspring run is getting more dangerous every cycle. And after Hexport, he pauses. I do not expect things to improve. You both go quiet for a moment, the loss of the station still inspiring silence in anyone who mentions it. Tell me, Malik meets your eye. As a sleeper, do you feel you have advantages over others, or does your particular condition provide only weaknesses? I'm not answering that. Apologies. Malik gently raises his hands. You're only the second sleeper I've met. I ask because you have impressed me. He gestures towards the Springtide. Your work on my ship only evidences your abilities. You far outperformed even my own crew. He looks at you, angling his head in deference. In conditions that are usually deadly. Well, I was just hacking the computer. Sadly, despite even your good work, our losses have been great, and the administration at the Far Spindle are not happy. We are to be impounded here until the Lotic Syndicate fulfills the agreed water freight. He frowns at the crumpled-looking ship. This war continues to pressure the belt. What will you do? This is where you are needed, sleeper. Malik folds his arms. My crew tells me you have a ship. You have workers. This is what I need. As we fled from the Conway attack, our navigator registered something of great interest, a water-rich asteroid, one I believe is previously unknown to the syndicates. He comes a little closer. For now, I've sworn him to secrecy, as I must you. But if this asteroid could be surveyed, its value confirmed, it would more than make up for the shortfall of the Springtide. He pauses thoughtfully. Let him continue. I want you to survey the asteroid for me. It is a simple enough job, but its location, so close to the edge of the wash, is problematic. However, you've shown yourself to be very competent. If you are careful, there is no reason you should have problems with Conway, or any other hostile party for that matter. A hostile party? Malik shrugs. The Wash is where the orbits of the inner system and starward belt conspire to bring vessels, objects, and all kinds of wanderers together. It's a territory of opportunists. I will, of course, reimburse you with a portion of the fee the Far Spindle administration are withholding from me. 250 cryo is my offer. How will your employer feel about that? The Lotic Syndicate only cares that its water is delivered and its fees paid. I am free to make sure this happens in a timely and efficient manner as I see fit. Malik passes you a thumbnail drive. Here are details on the tests I need you to run for the survey. A sample core of ice from deep within the asteroid should give you enough material to work with. You notice a member of the Springtide's crew waiting quietly at a distance, and Malik nods to them discreetly. This is a delicate matter, Sleeper. Survey the rock and on your return, broadcast the results to my personal terminal. The frequency is in the data. He pauses, meeting your eye. The results go to me, only to me. Then, once the matter is resolved, you will be paid. I am needed. He nods to the crew member. But I expect you have all you need. He pauses. I have enjoyed watching you work, Sleeper. Impress me again. And with that, he bows a little and drifts away to meet his crew member. After watching him go, you turn back to the Springtide, still impressive despite being scarred with curls of ice and shiny with fresh welds. Now, the problem is, he's talking about a crew. Right now I'm a crew of one because Seraphin can only pilot the ship, so he won't be joining us. I need to find a crew first. You imagine any captain of a ship like that has been through a lot to get to where they are. That makes them a valuable ally or a dangerous adversary, depending on where you are. You hope with Malik you can find your way to being the former. Okay. So we need to find a place to eat. What do you think? Should we go search the underhang? Or there might be a restaurant up here in this. Well, we've already started searching the Pinnacle Dock, so let's just keep searching here. Study the manifests. It all makes sense. Arrivals, departures, the flow of freight. You can identify the key docks just from their data. But we found a new place, a signal station, signal chaser facility. We can interpret signals. The signal station searches for signal in Far Spindle's local regions. Sorting them is too much work for just a crew. Or we can align arrays. The signal station makes use of the network of arrays across the Far Spindle. Synchronizing them is specialist work. It's not food. Okay, we'll go to the Pinnacle Docks. We'll try with the glitch dice to study the manifest, and hopefully we have a 20% chance that this will be a positive outcome. I'll have to do something administrative here because another bot decided to join the channel and ignore my channel rules. Now that this has been taken care of, I can go back to the game and we can try and use the glitch die. Come on! No! But we got a plus on Pinnacle Explorer. Just one, but still. You spend a long time digging through incoming and outgoing ships, but you can't understand any of the slang. Okay. So now we go back to the rig, and tomorrow we're going to be starving. And cycle. You awake to the sound of blaring proximity alarms. You quickly unstrap from your bunk and dizzily glance around. Lane? Bounty hunters? You kick off and glide to the door. As you do, Bliss pops their head around the corner. Sorry. They look a little sheepish. In all honesty, it's not my fault. Your wiring's all backwards. Takes you a moment to understand what's happening. You steady yourself against the doorframe. Seriously, Bliss? Bliss looks down. I said sorry. I'm handling it, they mumble. It takes you a while to get ready and drift down to the mess to see what's happening. By then, Bliss has turned off the alarms. You find them unspooling wires from a hatch you'd never previously noticed in the mess's ceiling. Sorry again, Sleeper. Their voice comes through the ceiling panels, muffled and dull. You settle at a stool, neatly tucking your legs behind the crossbar. How are the repairs coming? Bliss spins deftly, hooking their legs into the open ceiling so that, from your perspective, they are hanging upside down. Almost done, if you can believe it. Their messy hair floats around their head. A couple of cycles worth of diagnostics, and I'll be happy enough to release her back to you. A yawning Seraphim drifts in. He looks between the two of you, amused. What are you both doing up so early? You and Bliss exchange amused looks. What? Seraphim asks. You didn't hear the alarm? He shrugs. Heavy sleeper. He drifts over to the mess's cupboards to hunt for some breakfast. You turn to Bliss, but they have disappeared back into the ceiling panels. Before long, the mess is filled with the shrill screech of a power tool. Seraphim looks totally unaffected and hooks himself onto a stool, lazily sucking at a ration pouch while he taps away at his slate. The screech finally stops. After a while, you kick off from your stool. Time to head out. Bliss rushes after you, stopping you in the passageway before you can leave. I have something I want to show you. Bliss leads you to the main corridor, into a corner of the ship you don't remember visiting before. You come into a room with low, sloped ceilings, a single round window illuminating some neat tool storage, and a workbench set into the wall. Look, Bliss begins. I'm no specialist, but I'm a quick learner and good at repairs. They smile. And I think you have need of me. They glance at you at a tear in the thick vinyl skin of your arm. Can I take a look? Okay. They smile and lead you towards the workbench. You turn your arm, looking at the tear from all angles. They reach over to the workbench and take a small sealant gun from the rack. You look at the setup. It's basic, but it looks clean and well organized. They gently close the tear with sealant, pressing the edges together so it closes up neatly. After they are done, they release your arm, and you can barely see the scar. Bliss admires their work. See? They smile. I know it's more serious than a tear. Bliss folds her arms. But I can handle it. They turn and search through a set of metal drawers for a moment. Here, they produce a couple of carefully machined, pristine components. We're saving these for an important job, they wink. I guess I just found it. Bliss pushes the components into your hands. Take them. When you're ready, come up here and we'll fix you up. These are a rare find though. In future, we might have to make do with something lower quality. They wince. You can find scrap components at most scrapper ships, like that one that's hanging around the underhang. The better the components, the easier they'll integrate with your system. Bliss leans on the workbench. I'll do my best to keep you running. Why help me? You're a guest in my bay, and I can't have my guests' bodies collapsing now, can I? Plus, I think it benefits me if you think of me as indispensable, Bliss smiles. I should get back to fixing the ship. They leave you in the workshop among the simple tools considering the particular qualities of your new friend. Dice Repairs is now available. Visit the rig workshop above with R2. No, that's not it. Those are the drives. That's not it. It won't open. Weird. But okay, let's keep looking. We still need to find a food source, so let's finish up the Pinnacle docks. Excuse me. You feel like you have a good sense of the key locations. That was a negative outcome, which gave us some stress because we were already starving. Damn. All right. New location discovered. Belt-borne Venture. Infamous gambling barge. I doubt we get food at the gambling barge. Venture bar shift. Only vouch for members can gamble on the Venture, but bar shifts are easy to come by, mostly because they pay in tips and little more. All right, here we can make money, so that's not what we were looking for. Spacer Commons. I'm sure the Spacer Commons are going to have a restaurant, right? So let's take a look. We can explore the core, we can chat to crews. Since we have a 6, we can try that dangerous venture. Chat to crews. You ask around about crew and contracts and follow a few promising leads. You are starting to make progress. And there's a bar. Gaia's Gyre. A kelp-centric bar. You can order a rack. Rack is a seaweed-based liquor with a powerful saline taste. Gaia's Gyre has a reputation for serving it neat and strong. Buy kelp cakes. A huge cylindrical kelp tank sits at the center of Gaia's Gyre. It's the source of the key ingredient for the canteen's food. Getting racked. The freelancers of the far spit will seem cagey, but spend enough time at the local bar and they'll warm to you. Alright, we'll buy kelp cakes. That's for sure. Oh wow, that was 4. That's great. That's really great. Now, we have enough money to get racked, assuming that ordering a rack. No, we need 16. We need 16. So we need to make some money. So let's go back up to the Belt-borne Venture and do a venture bar shift. Let's see what happens. Chits change hands and you keep the drinks coming, resulting in a few being thrown your way. Not bad. Okay. And now we can try and do that. Order a rack. Oh, that actually sustains us too. Rather than dulling your senses, the rack heightens them. Your frame buzzes as it struggles to metabolize the drink. Alright, then what we're going to do is we're going to relieve stress at the rig. Big bunks. Rest and recover. This will help you reduce stress. Yeah, we're going to use the lowest die for that. Recovery failed. Okay. But I was... Oh, wait. Was that the repair dice thing? Rig workshop. You can repair your dice at the rig workshop. You can only repair dice which are fully broken. Repairs require either scrap components or rare components. The better components you use, the less glitches you will suffer. You cannot repair dice during a contract. Okay. We can do a dice repair. Workshop is empty and dark. List can only repair fully broken parts and not while on a contract. Improvised dice repair. The workshop is empty and dark. Bliss can only... Yeah, okay. But we don't have those components. We only have the ones for a full-on repair. but we can't do that now anyways. So, next stop, shall we continue on at the spindle core, or shall we explore the underhang? Yeah, let's wander the underhang, see what we find. Long zero-G tunnels lead to small public bays where people gather and chat. There's something charming about this place. We didn't find anything. Okay. Let's rest. You jerk suddenly awake. A fragment is lodged in your mind, a shard of sound, a signal, a tone. It resonates like tinnitus, obviously internal, inescapable. You look down to see your hands blurred, your fingers dancing as if they were typing. Your fingers flap like caught birds. It takes all your focus to settle them. You force yourself back into them, a sensation like squeezing on a tight pair of gloves. You flex your hands a little to feel them, test them. What was that? You take a deep breath to calm yourself, but as you do, you are reminded that you don't need to breathe. It is a claustrophobic sensation that you cannot shake. You get up, push off the wall, pull on your clothes, anything to escape the dreams that hover there at the back of your mind. Seraphin drifts in casually, heading to his bunk to grab something. You can't shake the strange sensation that he has just drifted into your mind. He shoots you a glance. I said, "Are you okay?" He gives you a concerned look. You look terrible. Stay silent. Speaking feels too far away, impossible to reach. You need to talk to me, sleeper. Seraphin gives you a look. He sighs. I know something happened back when we were leaving Hicksport. I don't know. I saw it, sleeper. Saw something change in your eyes. He pauses, looking for the right way to explain. They were cold, fixed. I've never seen that before. He looks away. Back when we first met, I knew at once you were human. I knew because of your eyes. I'd never met a sleeper before, but I knew immediately that you were no machine. It was obvious. But then, on the rig, he shivers. I couldn't see that anymore. Don't know what happened. What did it feel like? He gives you a curious look. Try to identify it. Positive, yes. You close your eyes and recall the moment. You remember Elaine's voice. The rig hot and close, the numbness. And then you see it glittering in the non-space of your mind, thin and bright, like spider silk, a thread. A connection between your mind and something else. You open your eyes to Seraphin's expectant face. You try to think how to describe what you just felt, but words fail you. Still, you know you felt it, the invisible hand of a signal linked to your mind, and the thought makes you shiver. We need to get you checked up. We need to know what's happening. Seraphin gives you a stubborn stare. This isn't just about you. But where? I've been asking around. Seraphin's face is set with determination now. There's another station near this one, Flotsam. It's a mess, an accumulation of wrecks and docked ships, but it also houses some of the best artificers in the wash. We should go there as soon as the rig is ready. Okay, I'll go. Thank you. Look, he pauses. I know I don't know what it is like to be a sleeper. I understand there are things you can't tell me, can't show me. But I do know how fear can keep you from doing what you need to do. I'm not going to nag you about it, he sighs, but it needs to be done. He passes by you as he leaves the bunks, squeezing your shoulder as he does, leaving you to your thoughts. No, I fully agree with it. You finish getting dressed, feeling your body, its strangeness, even though you wish you didn't. At the very least, you think you need to find someone who can stop you falling apart. maybe flotsam is not such a bad idea. No, it's not. It's a great idea. You push the thought to the back of your mind. There's a cycle ahead and the rig isn't ready. When it is, then you'll see. All right. So, after this cycle, excuse me, after this cycle, Bliss's Bay is going to be ready. So now would probably be a good time. Oh, we cannot even do the job while the rig is under repairs. So we can't even do the job for the other guy. Okay, fair enough. Well, in that case, we have a bunch of good dice. That's not going to get us far with this. So let's try and get far with something else. Signal Station had no expansions. The Spindle Core still has a few. And the Underhang, I think our safer bet is to do the middle one, because we can use the 2 perfect dice and get it done. So we're going to explore the core. No, we're going to chat to the crews. Boom. You ask around about crew and contracts, and following a few promising leads, you are starting to make progress. All right, we found a new location, but I'm not even going to look for it. We're just going to finish this up first. You have an understanding of the core layout now, but you are also totally exhausted. Time for a rest. The Far Spindle lives up to its name, its tall stature, making it a real effort to travel from end to end. The local solution to this problem are the transit tunnels, massive tubes bolted onto the outside of the spindle that allow for rapid passage from bottom to top. As you find yourself in one of these cavernous passages, bulky cargo haulers rushing by, you start to wonder if braving them is worth the effort. Back up! A shout rattles down the bare transit corridor like a gunshot and is rapidly followed by a crunching impact. You spin back, pushing yourself against the side of the wide cylindrical passage. As you do, a hauler glides past, sending a rippling wave of air across you in its wake. When the roar subsides, you hear a string of expletives coming from nearby, a spiky-looking figure clutching some oddly shaped open-frame object, gesturing wildly at the vehicle as it glides away. Dickhead. She spits an impressive glob of saliva down the tunnel, and it spirals in 0G. She turns to you in anger. You see that? Tried to slam me into the wall. Dickhead. She nods firmly. No shit. Haulers hate us. She sniffs and looks you up and down. Not supposed to be in the transit system without a vehicle. She squints. Not like I care, but maybe you do? Right. Sorry. Like I said, don't care. She rolls one of her shoulders, stretching it out. You're new here, right? Is it that obvious? She shrugs sympathetically. Nothing to be ashamed of. Let me give you a tip. She begins checking her open frame vehicle, tightening bolts and untangling pipes. Avoid the haulers, dickheads, the lot of them. Especially the water haulers. They think they're better than anyone. Don't mess with the Steve doors, though. They're good people. Get treated like shit by everyone else, just like us. She rapidly plugs and unplugs a series of connectors. They'll show you the shortcuts. She looks up and never, ever get in a Spindlejack's way. She smiles, spinning the vehicle in her hand. Spindlejack. She thumps her chest. You're looking at one. She pauses, considering something. Then suddenly, she reaches into one of her many pockets and pulls out a small transparent rectangle punched with holes. Text glints within it reading, Caden, Stripline Express. You take it. Caden, she flexes proudly. That's me. Stripline is my outfit. Kamal's the dispatcher. Small outfit, but we punch above our weight. Dispatch is here in the spindle's core, but I run the transit tunnels up and down the spindle 10 times a cycle. You need anything moving on the spindle? Data, tech, messages too hot for the hardline? Come find me. You're Corey. Got it in one. She kicks off the wall and mounts her bike, triggering a small burst of compressed air to keep herself steady in the transit passage. You hear a buzz of distorted speech from what you assume is her dispatcher. Kate angles her head to her communicator and mutters back into it. Got a hop sleeper. She looks over at you and something flickers in her eyes. An idea? Or perhaps just a realization. You might be able to help me with something. Package that's been bothering me. She squints down the passage. Come to the office at Stripline in a few cycles and I'll show you. Sure. We'll call it a favor on account of me saving you from being flattened by a hauler. She winks. Now you better get out of here before another hauler tries to squish you. You step back as she twists the handlebars and a burst of air sends her flying down the transit corridor to an unsettling speed. You watch her go, slightly caught off guard by her final remarks. What would a courier need you for? You turn the idea over in your head as you find a way out of the transit corridor, back to the safety of the main concourse. Stripline Express. All right, 2 cycles and we can look what's going on there. And the other one is the Spindle Trade Hall. This is where we can buy fuel and supplies. Oh, we have more room for fuel now, it seems. We can have 10 fuel now. But we don't have the creds for it. Well, we do have a few creds, but not a good idea. Let's work some more on the underhang. We're going to wander the underhang again. You find your way to a small community canteen serving one of the older units and spend the cycle chatting. All right, Nemba's kitchen. Earn a meal. Nemba's kitchen serves those that can work in the underhang, but able-bodied visitors like you have to work a kitchen shift to get to eat. All right, we can do that. Next time we need food, but first we want to do the drinks. So not now. We're going to keep working on the underhang. You find your way to small community canteen. Yep, okay. Did we find a new location? Yeah, we did. Spindle's Edge. Improvised residential block. Sealing shift. Most of the far spindle workers don't like going out to seal up the new units, so they leave that tiring and dangerous work for outsiders. And since it's an endure job, that's not our job. We can't. It's not happening. So let's see if we can get that last point on the underhand. Yeah. You've got to know the community. We lost some energy, but that's okay. The life beneath. You've got to know the community that have settled in the underhang in their humbled neighborhood. New location discovered. Scrapper ship. Scrap shift. Scrappers know their business, but they often have sorting and processing work for those who can spot corroded trash from valuable scrap. Buy scrap components. We can use those to repair ourselves. And process raw scraps. The scrappers will process your scrap in bulk, pay you for the offcuts, and return you the processed plates. It's not a bad deal. Okay. And this is where we would end the cycle. But instead, this is where we're going to end the game for today. Thank you for hanging out, everybody. This is going to go up on YouTube real soon. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a like if you watched it to this point. Leave a comment if you have anything to say. And if not, just say hi. I'll be sure to respond. And if you've enjoyed this, if this is not the first time that you've watched one of my episodes, consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you know whenever my next episode goes up. My name is Evil Zone. You can also find me on my main channel on Mondays, where I play Maverick Mondays at 9 p.m. Central European Time. I DJ for about an hour, and I play music that I call music from a non-canon future present, which is the music that we back in the 80s thought that the 2020s, the cyberpunk 2020s, were going to sound like. Maybe that's something you might be interested in. Anyways, I'm going to find myself a raid during this live stream, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.